All right. Welcome back, everyone, to the daily live stream for reclaiming being the supreme authority of your reality. We are using the law of assumption to reclaim all the places that we still have our power stuck in the outside mirror, where we still have like those assumptions that, we grew up with. We clarify them, we unmask them, and then we take it all back so we can easily and clearly create the reality that matches your wish fulfilled, that actually aligns with who you really are. And everyone as you pushed out means they actually reflect you, not some old construct that had nothing to do with you being the supreme authority and your preference. So if you are new here, be sure to check out the past videos so you can follow along. Every day we're definitely taking on different, techniques and ideas and ways to reveal this as I'm doing this with you. Okay. So yesterday, or 2 days ago, I guess it was, we were working through my workshop on being the supreme authority. Obviously, the full thing is in the Unmasking course if you want that. What we left off with is when we are dealing with attempts at guilt tripping and emotional blackmail. Okay. I'd like to start this segment before we get into the workshop part, which we'll do together, and then we'll do some revising and generate with the senses. And I have found, emotional blackmail, guilt tripping, that is definitely one of my Achilles heels, like guilt in general. And it's one of those things where anytime that we are reacting to the mirror, or like we're just reacting in general and we're feeling the heaviness of guilt, I find guilt it feels so heavy. It feels so remorseful, so regretful. It's just like this apathetic, heavy weight in my body. I do think it's important with feelings to actually just describe the feeling in the body, not so much the analyzation of it. It allows us to take the energy, because that's all it is, that's trapped, and we can transmute it. Because remember, our emotions are just indicators of whatever we are assuming, whatever state we're in. Is it in alignment with our wish fulfilled or not, right? And if we're in alignment with our wish fulfilled, which on a core level you always are, you're just shifting through states, and we're just dominantly getting into the state of I always have it. Which, again, on a core level, you always do. If you already have it in imagination, it's yours, done. We are just using the sense to generate it 51%, right? So it can be permanent, it can be solidified, and it feels a lot better. But as we solidify our imaginal acts and bring them into our third world reality, into the reflection, into the mirror, you're going to go through the states. And these states, right, can be guilt. They can be shame, they can be fear, they can be apathy, they can be manipulation. And whether it's showing up in actual circumstances that's happening with people, whether it's showing up in the seeming silence of nothing's happening, nothing's moving, and it's just like an inner turmoil that's going on. As you can describe the emotions you're feeling of like, oh, I feel a heaviness. Oh, I feel really small. I feel exhausted. I feel whatever it is. It's a really profound way to name the state and then own it, not need to shame yourself for it further or make it mean anything except I'm moving through a state. I'm going to transmute this. I'm going to clear this. And that is going to just further solidify my wish fulfilled. Because ideally, right, with our wish fulfilled, you can feel it all, you can be it all, but it's so neutral and natural that it doesn't even feel like the guilt or whatever it is blocking it. We're creating a clear passageway through, okay? So as we go into this next part of the workshop, I want you to notice whether it's others that, again, seem to be reflecting some type of emotional blackmail or they're reflecting some type of guilt or shame. It's just the mirror pulling out a place that we still are giving away our power to. And the only thing to do ever, it's not go fix it in the mirror. There's nothing to fix, just a mirror. It's to reclaim in that moment, I feel this heaviness, I feel this hurt, I feel this whatever it is. I know there's some meaning coming up about it, and I'm going to use my senses to regenerate it, to clear through whatever old assumptions are playing out right now. That might be like, I need to fix this. I did something wrong. I'm messing it up. It's not working. It's not moving. As you start to like track this, and if you do the course, you'll see it gets very repetitive. You know, when I work with clients, it usually is the same thing, spiraling around a few times, but every time you get more aware. Every time you're like, oh, it's this one again. I'm at a deeper level of understanding. Let me breathe through it and let me remind myself and regenerate through my senses here now what my reality actually is. And that's how we solidify it. That's how we condense it. And we no longer allow emotions of any kind to be some type of blackmail. They're just indicators. Am I in alignment with my state fulfilled? Am I like holding the actual, assumptions that are true to me? Or is something else coming up right now that I can just transmute, move through, so I can be more of who I am and my mirror can reflect more of me? That's all it ever is. All right, let's go into this workshop and then we'll do the revision together.
You move on to another common tactic, guilt tripping and emotional blackmail. These are the weapons of choice for those who know how to use their emotions to manipulate and control. And they're just as effective in adults as they are in children. Guilt tripping is just another form of manipulation, you say, your voice a low, seductive growl. It's a way of making you feel responsible for someone else's emotions, of making you feel like you're the one who's done something wrong. But here's the truth. You are not responsible for anyone else's emotions. You are not responsible for their happiness, their sadness, their disappointment. You are only responsible for yourself, for your own state of being. You see them nodding, the understanding settling into their bones. When someone tries to guilt trip you, you don't react with guilt, with doubt. You react with calm, controlled authority. You continue, your voice smooth as silk. You stand firm in your decision, knowing that their emotions are their own, not yours. You don't let their tactics sway you. You hold your ground, confident in the truth that you are the authority in your life, and that their attempts to manipulate you will fail. Inner Conversation LLC 2025, 67. You pause, letting the weight of your words sink in. Remember, feeling is the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious. You quote Neville, your voice filled with conviction. Feel the truth of your own power, your own authority, and let that feeling guide your reactions, your decisions. Don't let their emotions sway you. Let your own feelings of power and control be the dominant force in your reality, revising and replacing power loss patterns. Finally, you guide them through the process of revision, of replacing the old, worn-out patterns of power loss with new, empowering beliefs and assumptions. You've been conditioned to react a certain way, you say, your voice carrying the weight of absolute authority, to give in when someone throws a tantrum, to feel guilty when someone pouts, to question yourself when someone tries to manipulate you. But today you're going to revise all of that. You're going to rewrite those old patterns, those old reactions, and replace them with the truth of your own power. You see them nodding, ready to do the work, ready to step into their full authority. You're going to revise every memory, every moment where you gave away your power. You continue, your voice a low, seductive purr. You're going to see yourself as the one in control, the one who stands firm in their truth, the one who cannot be swayed by the manipulation of others. You're going to assume the feeling of being in complete control, of bending reality to your will. And you're going to let that feeling take root in your consciousness, replacing the old patterns with the new.
Okay. So we are going to do this together right now. I'll read you this last paragraph and we're going to do it together. All right. Remember, your subconscious impressions determine the conditions of your world. You quote Neville. Impress upon your subconscious the truth of your own power, your own authority, and watch as your world shifts to reflect that truth. Okay. So when we are met with this idea of guilt tripping, of I did something wrong, I need to go out there and fix it, I need to make it right, I need to do so and so, especially if we think that something out there is tied to our wish fulfilled. This is where we tend to give up our power. We think, well, I messed up with them. They're a part of my wish fulfilled, or it's entangled in my wish fulfilled. So I need to go fix the outer mirror to get my wish fulfilled. No, never, never. Because the only thing we're ever actually doing with the mirror is being like, I'm the authority. What I say goes. My wish fulfilled is the thing. It's the thing. And everyone's going to reflect that. And it's kind of like, because you are God of your reality, having this uncertain God that's like, well, if I do this, or if I people please this, or if I make this better, like, ugh, that's not trustworthy. It's going to lead to a lot of haphazard creation, right? Half measured creation, where like maybe you get the feedback you want a little bit, but you just gave up your power. And the only thing we're ever doing is realizing we are everything in this world, right? We are the only power. We're the only one that can give it to ourselves, plain and simple. And so in those moments of guilt or shame, whatever it is, it's never the thoughts of, do I need to go fix that? Should I do this to make it blah, blah, blah? Those are just thoughts of guilt. They're just thoughts of uncertainty. You breathe through it. Okay. And you remind yourself, I'm God of my reality. I'm brand new in every moment. I'm perfect. I'm whole. My wish fulfilled is here right now, even in this guilt. My wish fulfilled is here, even in the shame. And this is where we start to bring on the senses in revision. So I do want you to take a moment. We're going to do this together, to just locate the most recent moment you felt like you, whether it was guilt or shame or manipulation, you felt like you had to do something out there to make the wish fulfilled happen. I want you to recall that moment without condemning yourself, without judging yourself. It's because even then you were perfect. You were faultless, flawless. You were God, even in that moment. But let's take that back. So allow that moment to come back, but take a big breath into the belly, into the heart, into the lungs. And as you exhale, you are just releasing any thoughts of uncertainty, any thoughts of I did something wrong, I did it bad, it's all ruined, whatever it is, just release it. Do a few more big breaths in and out. I'm God. I'm perfect. I'm full. My wish fulfilled is right here. And now I'm generating the senses to bring it into being. That's the only thing to ever do in every single state. Okay? So now we go ahead and command the eyes. In that moment, you were seeing whatever you were seeing. Let it be valid. Let it be neutral. But we know it's not true. Because if it doesn't feel expansive, it doesn't feel in alignment, it's not your truth. So then command the eyes. What is your truth? What is your wish fulfilled in that moment? What would you have been seeing? Go ahead and replace whatever you saw with what you would be seeing. Bring it here and now, bring it to that moment, bring it all combined in this energy. So go ahead and just re-see it with your eyes here and now. Get the eyes to project it, really see it. What would you be hearing? You heard whatever you heard, whether it was inner thoughts or outer thoughts spoken by others, and generate the sound of your truth. Replace it right now. What are you truly hearing that confirms your wish fulfilled? Instead of guilt or shame, instead of I did something wrong, or I need this, or whatever it was, hear agreement, hear celebration, hear compliments, hear the perfection, the validation that you are. Generate that now with the ears. Hear it clearly. And you can respond, right? As you see it, okay, that's what's really happening. Respond. As you hear it, okay, that's what I'm really hearing, because this is what creates reality. This is it right here. Now, what do you taste? Perhaps you were just tasting stale air, or like the heaviness, or maybe even eating something in that state. Replace it. What's something that you'd be tasting that's uplifting, delicious? And so if you have like a favorite drink or a favorite snack, or even just like fresh air, you can taste that, right? something that is rich and nutritious and delicious. Allow it to be here and now. And to my friend that just said, I'm finding it hard, it takes practice. There's no other way to put it. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. So I would just assume right now it's getting easier and easier to generate this. The more I command it, because yes, our senses are definitely commanded to be passive. But just like you could taste something right now, you could smell something right now, which you're hearing something right now. That's actually your imagination. You're not actually doing anything out here. There's nothing out here. The mind never leaves the skull, okay? There is no out here. It's all a projection, right? So just like your imagination is actually generating what you hear me saying, what you're seeing, what you're touching, tasting, it's doing that. So it's very good at doing it. We're just getting really good at controlling it to do what we want it to do. Does that make sense? So persistence and trusting yourself. If your mind is doing this, because it is, even though it's doing it passively, with persistence, this does get easier. It really does. So we were seeing it, we were hearing it, we're tasting it, and now let's touch it. Touch it. So whatever you were touching, whatever you are touching, again, go ahead and touch something right now and tell yourself, my mind is not actually leaving my skull. I'm doing this in my head right now. Like I'm touching this and it feels very real and I can even lean on it and do all these things. But technically, it's all happening within my mind and it doesn't leave the black box of my skull. It doesn't actually go out anywhere. It's pretty wild, right? So just like I can do this, it can feel something else. So what do you touch? Instead of like whatever you were touching in guilt, that maybe it was like a scrolling or maybe it was something very passive, what would be a very generative touch of like a congratulations or a hug or dancing or celebration or like warmth or an embrace? And you just tell the senses, tell the body, okay, I'm holding this, I'm touching this, I'm feeling the warm handshake, or I'm feeling and touching the hug, the embrace, the phone with like the great message, whatever it is, okay? And then let's keep going. So we have taste, touch, we have smelling so powerful. So in the apathy and the grief, whatever it was, whatever you were smelling, whether it was like stagnant or just kind of like even hollowness, just kind of like empty grief, whatever it was, breathe in life, right? So for me, I love imagining the smell of the ocean. I love the smell of the ocean. There's so much potential in ocean. So like I'll smell the ocean, or a perfume that you really love, or just like the wind and being outside with the sun and, trees, rain, something fresh, something new, or something more warming, right? The smell of the cologne of your person, or just like cooking food, something that just, again, instead of like the hollowness of guilt or the emptiness, the heaviness of shame, we're just doing the opposite, right? So there's just a fullness, there's warmth, there's opulence, there's something new. I love the smell of success, whatever that means to you. My nose definitely has certain scents that go with that. And the more you do this, by the way, I do this daily, it gets easier. By the way, I am putting together, I'm adding it to the unmasking course, one that's just for the senses, to like really master the senses, because I know it can be difficult. I do. And that's why I myself have been like taking time to just really master this. So in the course, it'll be really straightforward and we'll make it very specific to love, to money, to family, to being known, heard, powerful, to really just always having top tier everything. So that will be coming. And it will really go into how to like master all 6 senses, essentially, to make it very just easily controlled in every moment, and overlay this whole like conditioning we had of, I'm just going to passively observe. We're not going to do that anymore. We're going to really activate it and generate it, because that is active imagination. That is how we create. Totally. Okay, I'm glad that did make sense. I will be adding that to the course. There'll be updates soon as I kind of complete that and add it to it. So let's see. Did we do all of them? Taste, touch, hear. We heard it. We saw it, felt it, smell, we smelled it. I believe that's all of it. So let's just do it one more time quickly, okay? So wherever you were feeling guilt or shame, drop that, breathe, and breathe. By the way, breathing's so big in this. Breathe big into the belly because your breath is also commanding reality. And when we're in shame and guilt, it's like, it can be hard to breathe. So it's so powerful to bring your breath back into the body. Acknowledge, like, I am creating this. My breath is commanding this. And now my eyes are bringing it into being. Again, what do you want to see? See it now. This is what creates reality. So see it in front of you. Hear it. What do you hear? What do you touch? Touch it. Touch them. And again, you're not seeking anymore. You are claiming. You are smelling it. Smell in the opulence, the success, the newness, the warmth, the comfort, the opposite of whatever it was. And then just bring it all together in the vision where you see it, you taste it, bring the taste, touch, smell, the breath of it, the momentum of it, hear it. And now we're using the senses accurately. All right, we will do more tomorrow. Again, I am making a course on how to like really perfect the senses for your specific person, for money, for health, for just like wealth, beauty, for like the whole thing. And for really just knowing that you're always the center of your reality. You are always the authority. And so no matter what's going on, you're just like, no. And your senses know how to activate and generate it. We don't get stuck in those states of guilt and apathy and fear and manipulation anymore. And we definitely don't react to the mirror that can give us nothing. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. You said meditation that said, yeah, that meditation, the half your person one, that's still in the Manifest Together library. To be a powerful, say your person, your comforts, your fears and doubts. Yeah. So we are still doing that, right? Well, you can imagine them doing this with you. Your person is like half of you doing it with you. But then also see them as in front of you doing it with you, right? That to me is that next level. Like always see them with you as half of you. But because we are here to like physicalize it and make it in the 3D, half of you and also like right there, like I want you to know how to touch their hand and smell their skin and feel their embrace and see them in front of you. So they actually are right there reassuring you in the doubts and the fears. That will be more in the course. Okay, I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you for joining.